Well, how are you doing? This is going to be a short video, hopefully. It's about the claim that this man here, who was claimed to be Isaac Newton, that this man claimed that there was a force of attraction between two masses, and this force was called gravity. So basically, his claim is that, or supposedly, the claim is that he claimed that gravity is a force of attraction between two masses. That's right. That's what people have been claiming. That he claimed um, since uh, since he wrote his Principia Mathematica. So, what I could find out in all my research over the years is that he never claimed that. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it was people after him that claimed this, and they claimed that he claimed it. And there's a famous letter that anyone who watches this video will surely be aware of. And I'm not going to go reading it out because it's been read out many times. From Isaac Newton to a philosopher of his time. I think the man's name was Dawson, I could be wrong. And he stated that he did not want this man to, this is not verbatim, but he did not want this man to say that Isaac Newton, was claiming that there was a force of attraction between two masses, that was absurd. And he added more to it. He was very adamant about this. So why people decided to claim that he claimed it is really just, as far as I can tell, it was after his time. People used his name because his name held weight. Pardon the pun. His name held weight in the scientific community, and people after him, people like maybe Henry Cavendish, or people John Michel, Reverend John Michel, people like that they claimed that he claimed it, or they made it seem like he claimed it, but I don't know of any direct evidence that he did. And as I said, the letter states that he didn't. So let's go. So here we have Isaac Newton. This is his Principia Mathematica. Okay. Now it's claimed that in this he stated that there was a force of attraction between two masses caused by, and this force was known as gravity. Okay. So just going to go down. Okay, so mass in physics, quantitative measure of inertia, a fundamental property of all matter. It is, in effect, the resistance that a body of matter offers to a change in its speed or position upon the application of a force. The greater the mass of a body, the smaller the change produced by an applied force. Inertia. Okay, so mass is inertia, right? It's a quantitative measure of inertia, right? A tendency to do nothing or to remain unchanged, right? Physics, a property of matter by which it continues in its existing state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless that state is changed by an external force. Okay, so mass is inertia, and inertia is basically a resistance to change. Okay, so let's just go back up there a second, because Philosophy Naturalis, Principia Mathematica, is written in Latin. So he didn't write his Principia Mathematica in English, he wrote it in Latin. So let's go and research what some of those words would mean in Latin. Gravity, which comes from the word gravitas, which means gravitas, heaviness, gravity, seriousness, weight, importance, dignity. But gravitas doesn't mean gravity. It means heaviness, it means weight, seriousness, importance, dignity. Gravity is an English bastardization of the word gravitas. More down here, it's weight, importance, burden, value, load. They have gravity in again. They're adding in gravity. The gravity is there is no gravity in Latin. Then you have dignity, rank, honor, prestige, office, and you have gravity in again. Gravity is a bastardization of the word gravitas. So I don't know why they're adding that in, but they are. But either way, gravitas means heaviness. It means weight and heaviness. That's what gravitas means. It doesn't mean force. It doesn't mean attraction between two masses. It just means weight, heaviness. So mass is described as inertia. Let's just come back here a sec. So mass in physics, quantitative measure of inertia, a fundamental property of all matter. It is in effect the resistance that a body of matter offers to a change in its speed or position upon the application of a force. The greater the mass of a body, the smaller the change produced by an applied force. So that means the greater the size of the mass, the smaller the change produced by an applied force. That's kind of what they're saying. Inertia, right? A quantitative measure of inertia, a tendency to do nothing or to remain unchanged. In physics, inertia, a property of matter by which it continues in its existing state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line, unless that state is changed by an external force. So weight is inertia. Inertia, it can be weight. Yeah, weight can be described as inertia. So mass is just basically, in English, mass is just weight, but with a force of gravity, attraction between masses, belief added in. So mass is just describing weight in the real world. In the real 3D world, my mass and my weight are no different, except for one will be measured in kilograms and one won't be. But that doesn't mean that those kilograms are any lighter if you go to pick them up. You pick up 200 kilograms and you will know all about how heavy that is. Is that not weight? This is ridiculous, right? But this is all based on this. Gravity is the force of attraction between two masses. The English word mass is based around disbelief, and that gravity causes weight. But in the Latin, where the word gravity comes from, the Latin word gravitas, which is where the bastardization word gravity comes from, gravitas means heaviness, seriousness, weight. So it's just talking about weight, not a force. There's no force. There's just weight. People ascribe weight as a force because it has a force because it pushes down on a scale. Well, hydrogen and helium have weight, but they don't push down on scales. Well, they will. They'll create a force onto the scales due to the pressure, but it's not a linear downward force because they're a gas. They go in every direction possible. So they don't have a linear downward force. A piece of steel is a linear downward force. Hydrogen gas doesn't have. It has a force in all directions. But that still has weight. So we are conditioned into believing that weight means a linear downward force, because that's what they need you to believe if you want to believe in this English bastardization word gravity. That comes from the Latin word gravitas, that just means heaviness, seriousness, weight. That's what it means. Let's see some other Latin words. Mass comes from the word massa. That's where, right? Massa, mass, lump, cake, nugget, block, bulk. And there's also missa, which is also mass. Congruous, considerable, mort, multitude, scad, moles, mole, bulk, jetty, weight, burden, pile, right? That might be connecting to a mole in physics, not sure. I'd say it might be. It doesn't matter. The point is massa is just talking about an accumulation of something. Okay. Now we go down again. Force, impetu, right? Vis, force, violence, strength, power, energy. Potentia, might, power, force, strength, hold, efficiency. Robur, strength, hardiness, toughness, force, stronghold, oak. So impetu is force. Matter, materia, material, matter, lumber, subject, stuff, timber. Res, matter, business, reality, swap, property. Business, matter, task, affair, work, trouble. So material, matter, lumber, materia, right? Matter comes from the word materia, Latin word materia. Then attract, attrahunt in Latin. Attract in English word attract is attrahunt in Latin. So delight, attract, amuse, enchant, entice, charm. Atraho, attract, drag, draw to. Okay, there's also a oleo, smell, and attract, but that's not so important. It's just the basics up here we need. Okay, attracto, attrahont. Okay, is the Latin word for attract. Then we have attraction. What is the Latin word for attraction? Attractio. Attractio. That's the Latin word for attraction. Attractio. Right? So we have attractio, we have attratahunt, we have materia, we have impetu, we have massa or missa, and we have gravitas. Now they all have a different meaning to the English, more or less. Most of them have a different meaning to the English. No, like gravitas and gravity are two completely different things. Massa and mass are two different things as well, because mass, the word mass connects to a belief of a force of attraction between masses caused by gravity, and that mass and weight are different. So mass is not the same as weight, because they're in the force of gravity belief. Your mass can change the further you get from gravitational attraction, the size of the globe Earth. So when they're on the moon in the heliocentric model, they believe there's a 1/6 force of gravity. So your mass stays the same, but your weight is different. But it's nonsense, because that comes from the word massa, which just means mass, lump, cake, nugget, block, bulk. Then you have, right, so, and then we have force, impetu, right? This force, violence, strength, power, energy, force. Then we have materia, material, matter, lumber, subject, stuff, timber. Then we have attract, attrahont, delight, attract, amuse, enchant, entice, charm. So what we have here is a load of Latin words that don't mean the same in English. Some of them do. Attract kind of means similar. Materia, yeah, and matter, it's pretty similar. Force, yeah, force is similar. Mass is not the same. They're not the same. Even though they might look the same, they're not the same. They might seem the same on paper, but they're not, because this one is just a word describing. This word is based around a belief, and that's the difference. And it's a belief that's based around this English bastardization word called gravity. That is a English bastardization of the Latin word gravitas. Okay? Gravitas just means heaviness, weight. Okay? That's all that means. Let's go back here. Mass in physics, quantitative measure of inertia, right? Inertia, a tendency to do nothing or to remain unchanged. In physics, inertia, a property of matter by which it continues in its existing state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line, unless that state is changed by an external force. What's that? What does that sound like? Inertia sounds very like weight, doesn't it? Weight would definitely cause inertia or have inertia, surely. So if mass is inertia, a quantitative measure of inertia, what's weight? Does weight not have inertia? This is complete and utter nonsense. You see, this word here, mass, is based around a belief. Okay? A belief of this word, gravity. Okay? But gravitas is the word that Isaac Newton used in his Principia Mathematica. Massa and missa, or missa, I should say, are the words he would have used in his Principia Mathematica. And that just, so gravitas means heaviness, weight, seriousness, importance, whichever. Massa, right? Mass, lump, cake, nugget, block, bulk, missa, mass, congruous, considerable, multitude, scale. Okay, these are the words. If he was going to use is the word force, impetu, in there, in connection to massa and gravitas? Because it doesn't matter if it is, because gravitas and massa don't mean mass and gravity. So I don't know where you're going with this. It doesn't matter how many times the word force, the word impetu, or attrahont, or attractio is in there, because their meaning, even though similar in English, doesn't matter, because these two words, massa and gravitas, mean two completely different things, more or less, to gravity and mass. Because Isaac Newton wrote his Principia Mathematica in Latin. So anyone who claims that Isaac Newton claimed that a force of attraction called gravity, this force called gravity, that attracts one mass to the other, and he claimed this in his Principia, is talking a load of rubbish. His Principia is in Latin, and the Latin word gravitas and massa, or missa if you want to use it, have different meanings to gravity and mass. He did not state that gravity is a force of attraction between two masses, because he wrote his Principia in Latin. It's pretty simple, you know. I wish people on our opposing side would learn something and just accept that they're wrong. He didn't state this. Someone else stated this a long time after him. He didn't state this. This man here, Isaac Newton, didn't state gravity is a force of attraction between two masses. I can find no evidence that he did. I can find evidence that people started presuming he did, even though he stated in a letter to a philosopher of his time that he is definitely not stating that complete and utter nonsense. People are still saying that he did state it. So when people try and say that Newtonian gravitation is still relevant, it's a nothing statement. It's a completely nothing statement. There was no such thing as Newtonian gravitation. He spoke about weight, heaviness. He spoke about massa, which is just an accumulation. You know, massa, and it's just an accumulation. It's a way of describing an accumulation of matter, an accumulation of materia, matter. That's all he did. That's all he did. Whatever else he said in his Principia, whatever else he said in it, I don't read Latin, but whatever else he said in it, he couldn't have said this, because this is in English, and this word gravity and this word here masses, right, mean different things from gravitas and massa. So you don't know what you're talking about. So maybe you want to get your acts together and stop claiming. This guy claims something that he didn't claim. End of story. Thanks.